Alrighty. Hello everyone. Welcome to Blue Stake Trading. Go through real quickly here. Our main trade setup. It's going to look like this. Give me a quick second to get it set up right. Top right screen, mainstream. There we go. So quickly here, I've got an order placed right now. We are looking to get filled right now, as you can see right here at the 45.40 and a half level. The reason I'm picking that is because I've got a 1 point stop, which takes us up to this top edge of this resistance, and we've got a 1 point limit down. So we just got filled, and hopefully you can hear that on the computer. I don't know if you can or not. But yeah, just wanted to give you a heads up that we are live. I'm gonna check and see if our YouTube is showing that as well. It is. We are live right now. So I'm gonna share this to the post. Let people know. We are live right now. So we are in this trade. I'll go through kind of some of the setups here that I see. And we did just get the cross at the stochastic slow, which is an important upper edge. You can see that we were at a pretty high overbought level. And RSI was at the top, kind of maxing out where it's been in this overnight section, or this overnight session. It's low volume on this holiday. Today is Monday the 6th. Looks like you can't quite see that there. But anyhow, so I'm scalping ES futures, and over the next bit of time I'm going to explain what my process is. Also, if there's anybody that joins into this live video feed, I don't know that there will be, but if they do, if they ask any questions, I will see those and I will do my best to answer those to the best of my ability. So right now we're $12.50 profit, back to zero. So every 25 cents of price movement on ES results in $12.50. So 1 point is equal to $50, as you can see right here. I'm going to make this screen a little bit larger for you all and give you a description of what this screen is. On the far right here we have the time and sales, and so this is a live market feed of actual sales hitting the market. And then here is the active trader window. So I can see the level 2 for 10 strikes above the ask and 10 strikes below the bid. So we'll start to see volume picking up here, depending on where traders are putting in limit orders. So you can't see stops, but you can see limit orders. So the reason I entered this trade was because the RSI was at the high of the day, and we're still right there. So I can anticipate a pullback when that occurs. We are heading into the 9 o'clock hour. Right now it's 8:48 p.m. Mountain Time, 8:49 p.m. Mountain Time. And this is generally a good indicator that we are going to be seeing some more volume at the 30-minute and the hour mark. So we just shot up 25 cents, so now we're down $12.50. So this is a risk-defined bracket order that I've entered, and I'll pull that back up here. These are templates that I have set up. So a target with a bracket, and I'm looking at 1 point up or down. Back to being even. Something that I watch really closely is the MACD. I've been studying this for about 20 years and have a pretty good feel for it, and I'm used to watching it on all time frames: the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 30-minute, the 5-minute, and the 1-minute. And what I'm looking for right now is on the 1-minute for this to start turning down. The indicator that I have up here that's overlaid on the price, this is the MACD histogram. And so if I double click this real quick, I'm going to just take it off for, I'll leave it on actually, but anyways, I have different colors set up here. This is different than the program, and I will provide a link to my trade setups in the description on the YouTube video. So it's going to take a second to reload, but it will shortly. And so you can see my different stop levels on the screen here. You can see where I entered, you can see where price has gone, and then you can see my two stop points here. So what I'm looking at is when the MACD histogram is running up at a quick pace, that's a bullish indicator. And once it starts to stagnate and start to really chop here, that's when price is going to likely change. So right here is the low volume profile. So I have volume profile set up for, we're aggregating 20 days worth of volume. And so it's a common thing that you'll see is that at these low volume nodes, you're either going to blow right through the price or it's a reversal point. So looking at this, I probably could have gotten a slightly better entry point, but I have a good feeling that this trade is going to turn profitable for us. No guarantees, of course. We're back to even in this trade from where we entered. I could enter another leg slightly higher, but I'm going to go ahead and let this one play out. I'm seeing here that the MACD has not started to turn yet, but it's definitely getting weaker. And I kind of always plot in theory. If you look at these charts, you can kind of see the high point. And if you kind of just draw a linear line, you kind of get an idea of where that cross is going to happen. There's a lot of fake outs on this. A lot of traders use it. A lot of market makers also do the inverse of what you might anticipate. So you've got to be cautious with some of these indicators. I'll go into more depth onto everything, but I just want to give you a good overall feel for the setup that I'm trading right now. I'm going to switch over to my secondary screen. So I have multiple monitors set up, so this is a different monitor now. And this here is the 30-minute window and the 5-minute here. I also have the 1 minute off to the right here, which it's just such a large screen, it's hard for you all to be able to see at the same time. So that's why I have it set up the way I do. But now you can see the 1 minute here on the right. And generally when I'm trading this strategy, what I'm looking for is for the 30-minute, the 5-minute, and the 1 minute to all be in alignment. Those are great trade opportunities. If you have a downward 30-minute, a downward 5-minute, and a downward 1 minute, that's generally going to be a down, and then the inverse would be true in an upcycle. So here in about 7 minutes, we're going to get some trade movement more than likely at the 9 o'clock hour. So it's going to be a little bit slow until then, but that's going to pick up for sure. So I'm going to slide this screen back so that way you're just set up to see the 30-minute here and the 5-minute. On the 5-minute, you can see my orders, kind of get a general idea of where things are at. Again, I have the volume profile set up, aggregating on the 5-minute for 30 days worth of volume. So right in here, we're currently trading at a low volume node, which means we should get fast price movement, but generally what happens is you get a reversal. And so that's why I entered this trade, and also to have something to talk about here while we're getting started. So now that you've seen kind of this, I'm going to go back to my main trading setup. So right here again, this is my upper left screen. You've got me down there saying hi. And then you have the 30-minute, 5-minute, and the 1-minute. So I do kind of have the way the screen's set up, some of that, the 5-minute blocked out, and I can set that, I can change that as we go to show you more of that. But I just like to let people see kind of where my orders are placed, be able to see the full level 2 bid ask. So now we're back in the profit of $12.50. Nothing major, but it's something. So we are back to even right now, which is okay. We've got the cross just happened on the MACD, just went negative. We've got the stochastics falling. The RSI has lost steam. We've gone from the upper edge of the Bollinger Bands in here, which is this red line. We're back down to the midpoint, which is this blue line. So the Bollinger Bands, this is the standard Thinkorswim setup using Thinkorswim. And then this bottom purple band is where we need this price action to head back to and revert to for us to profit our $50. So I'm going to keep a really close eye now on the stochastic indicator. So if this is going to keep breaking down, and what we're looking for is to get some price action similar to this on the red line, and then right here where the purple line crosses the red line, it generally starts to switch back to being bullish. Not every time, but like right here you can see this, it's kind of the deepest pullback. And right there after these green bars is where the MACD starts to get this curl shape. And so this is what we're looking for trade entry opportunities, is kind of these extremes on the MACD at the top. So this is where we entered our short position. If you see here, we were somewhat early, but we had the right setup that we were looking for. So this is what I would consider a fairly high quality entry. My win rate doing this strategy that you see right here is 70%. So that means that I will, for every 10 trades, I'll win 7 and lose 3. So given the numbers that I'm playing, $50 risked to make $50, that would mean that my 7 winners would profit me $350, and my 3 losers would cost me $150. So I would make $200 for every 10 trades that I enter. Now we don't get a huge number of trades every day, so one thing that I do like to use is futures. The leverage is great. I'm using TD Ameritrade right now, and I am looking at some different brokers that I'll be starting to trade a lot more at, that I have accounts at, and Trade Ninja is one of those. They charge only $500 per ES contract of margin required. So if you have a smaller account, you can trade futures, and there's no pattern day trade rules. So you can set up, I believe it's as little as $1,000 account, and you can trade one futures contract, which would be $500 of margin. I I think they require a 2-to-1 ratio of margin used, so you can't use more than 50% of your max buying power. But either way, with my account size, I could trade, I don't know, I think up to, let's see here, a few hundred contracts, I guess, at that $500 margin amount. But my preference isn't to trade huge. My preference is to trade and maintain a very high win ratio. Let's see here, we're back into the profit zone. We have $12.50 of profit. Gonna do some computer checks. It looks like my stream feed is not running very smoothly. Just see how much computer process I'm sucking up here. Looks like I'm using 100% of my CPU and 87% of my memory. So I might need to be upgrading computers here soon. That's what it's looking like. Well, it's gonna be interesting. So you can see that this price action, while we've been waiting here, we just got through the 9 o'clock hour, which is a good indicator. So by getting through 9 p.m., we didn't see a large volume of buyers or sellers. We're staying in this chop range. It's like kind of the high point of the buyers here. The sellers are taking control at the 75-cent level. And we're just kind of meandering. So when you see the Bollinger Bands here, that's the red line, the blue line, and the purple line, starting to compress, meaning the distance between the two is getting narrower. That's similar to like a squeeze setup. So the market's starting to get more range bound, and once these lines converge too far, you're going to see a large movement. And so what I'm not used to seeing is this much mid chop on the stochastic indicator. This is something that I'm not used to seeing a lot, and it makes me wonder if the buyers are going to take control here. It looks like they're starting to gain strength. They have strength on the MACD histogram. We're still in a downtrend, but my guess is that as we squeeze, we might squeeze to the upside. Let's see what these buyers and sellers do right here. So we had one buyer at the 75 level. That is not very strong. There's not a huge pile of sellers right here defending this level, but there's very few buyers. There's only 3 buyers at the 75 level. So that is not very bullish. Generally, if price was going to start moving upward, you would see a large group of buyers coming into the marketplace. So right there you had way more sellers at the 50 level. Way more sellers at the 50 level than what pushed up to the 75. So just to kind of give you the trader analogy here and the psychology of the market. So these are people that are patient, the people that have bid-ask limit orders placed. They're only willing to buy at that price. But then you have people who are willing to buy at the market or sell at the market. Those are your aggressive traders. Those are the ones that are actually moving the price up and down. So here we go. Now we've got some aggressive buyers coming back into the 75 level. They've sucked up pretty much all of the limit order sellers here. So the price is probably going to keep moving up, given that there's no more sellers at that level. There's nobody that's willing to sell at the 75 level. Very few, 6. That's not a lot. So those buyers are probably going to push this up into the 41 level. We did get a reversal in the stochastic, so the red line started to move up, indicating that buyers have control right now. The RSI is still in a downward trend. It being above 50 means that we're still in an uptrend. When the RSI is below 50, I have it color coded to turn red, which means that it's a downward trend. Kind of using red, similar colors as the candles. Same thing with my MACD histogram here. When it goes green, it means that the price is moving up. When it switches to red, it means the price is going down. So as you can see, the distance between these dots, each dot represents one candle. And the distance here represents how much the histogram is growing. So looking at this right here, this is your typical MACD kind of prime crossover setup. So right now we've got what I kind of call a MACD fake out. It's when there really wasn't a lot of control here by the sellers. Generally speaking, when you're in this zone, it's just representing a lot of sideways chop. The steepness of the lines and kind of the curvature of all this is something that I've been studying, like I said, for about 20 years. So when I see this sort of shape turning over, that's definitely a bearish indicator. Likewise, when I see this turning up, that's bullish. So this is kind of what you would normally see. It being a 1 minute chart, it's got a little bit more wiggles and squiggles. If you were to look at it on a daily, it would look different than this. So yeah, I would say right now, this could go 50-50. I mean, we're only 50 cents away from my stop. We're now $1.50 from my limit order, which would lock in $1's worth of profit. Looks like the MACD is turning positive. We just had a crossover, which is bullish. So you get algo traders that just trade based off of this crossover right now. When this candle closes here, let's see, depending on how this closes, it's going to determine what happens. Ooh, we got a big sell-off. Let's see. Yeah, we got quite a few sellers joining here. So we're back to our original price point. Well, we've got a little bit of excitement, but not a lot of price movement here. We've been in this trade now for a little over 20 minutes, and the price has not moved up or down. It's for the most part, stayed right there at the control point of where I entered this trade. The MACD did turn back down, so that candle was not able to close very strong. So we had a potential crossover, but it did not happen. Very interesting. So you can see that the blue line, the direction it's heading, so if it's in a downward trend, it means we're in a downward trend. If it's sideways, it generally means that we're going to be chopping. And when it's up trending, it means it's bullish. So you can see that these lines are still slightly heading upward, but we're kind of coming to a roll. And that's kind of somewhat what I was anticipating here, being in a low volume node. I'm going to zoom in on the 30-minute and I'm going to pull that up. So I'm going to zoom in here. This is the 30-minute chart. And so see this low volume node right here on the 30-minute, which I have, let's see how many days of, this is 10 days worth of volume are being bought into this chart. So anytime there's a low point like this, that generally means that price is going to reverse there. Not every time, but generally speaking. So I would say this is a fairly high quality trade entry. We could go short right here and play a reversal. I'm going to be patient here and see what happens. So you can see that the switch screen so you can go back here. So the MACD is heading down, Stochastic is heading down, the RSI is heading down. Does not mean that price is going to follow through, but it's looking favorable. We need 75 more cents of downward movement, and we're getting some of it. Now we need 50 more cents, so we're now to a $25 profit. Question is, will there be enough sellers to take out these limit order buyers that are right here? I think there will be. We'll see what happens though. Got some downward momentum right now. There's the price stabilizing again. It'll be interesting. It will be interesting. There we go. It's looking like we're going to be in business here in a moment. I'll hear my phone alert me first. It'll tell me. So we've been in this trade now for 28 minutes. So we'll see here if I can make $50 in 28-minute period. We should. It should follow through right now. We need 25 cents more of downward price action to trigger my limit order. I'm going to stay patient here. I'll make my screen a little bit bigger. There we go. We just got filled. We made $50. and I just heard it come through on my headset, but I saw my phone flash first. I'm not quite sure why there's that about 10 seconds of delay between my mobile app and my phone, but you can see here's kind of the trade recap. We went short one ES contract at 45.40 and a half, and about 30 minutes later the market moved like we needed it to, and we went long to cover our short position at the 45.39 and a half level. So this $50 of profit for 1 point of movement, and look at that bounce back. Wow. So you can see we got right in there at the low almost. Let's see, within 25 cents of the low, and that thing just bounced right back up. It's interesting how that happens. That's why we don't get greedy. Now, this price action could certainly fall back, but right at the 15-minute, you can see how much volume just come in. So this candle is about to close. So I'm tracking that by looking at the time right here. So this is all in Mountain Time. So it's 9:16 p.m. Mountain Time, Monday, September 6th. And you can see these orders coming in. So we've got a lot of sell orders at this 39.75 level. Well, I'm glad that worked out. First trade of the day. Made $50 on that one. So I'm gonna let this trend down for a little bit longer. Our overall picture right now is we are on the 30-minute window. I'm gonna switch to our mainstream here. So on the 30-minute, we're in a downtrend. We can tell that several ways. We can look at the price action. We're making lower lows. The recent high here, we were not able to get through this reversal point, which is at the 41 level. And buyers, what oftentimes happens is you get these rubber band snapbacks. So the price will snap down and then revert to the mean going up, and that upward momentum will sometimes help be a catalyst to get through these reversal points. The other thing, like I said earlier, is you get the time of day. So on the 30-minute and the 1 hour mark of each hour, you'll get a lot of algo traders that have a variety of different setups that'll put trades on and take trades off on those time intervals. So depending on what the new candle shows on the 30-minute and the 1 hour, there's a lot of traders that trade that with algo setups, and those will cause quite a bit of market volatility. So on the daily right now, looks like our volume profile here is getting a pretty good little bell curve, which is what you would expect on a low volume day. But you can see that drift that we had last night on low volume as well. This on the 30-minute, I do have the volume pulled up right here. So you can see there was some decent volume last night at 1 a.m. And then on the open of today's limited session, the 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time, which was the open, decent upward volume, but after that the volume has just been collapsing. And normally, in my opinion, when you have low volume, the market just kind of seems to dribble up. When you get high volume, in my experience, is when you start to see the market pulling back into a downtrend. And there's a variety of reasons that occurs. It's because there's a lot of sellers and not a lot of buyers. It's just kind of the way that works. There's always market makers that are willing to sell, and there's always market makers willing to buy, but they generally need to be buying at a lower price. So to me, we're starting to get a little bit of MACD erosion here. I don't think that this pullback was deep enough for me to go long. Had this pullback been longer and extended down here to somewhere in this range, I might consider going long. But for right now, there's not a lot of probable trade outcomes here other than a downtrend. So I'm going to need to be patient, give it some time. Like I said earlier, one platform that I'm looking at switching to do most of my trading out of, that I have an account at, is Trade Ninja, and I think that they have great commissions on futures. So without going to their website and pulling it up, but I think off the top of my head, right now I'm paying $3.50 per trip on an ES futures. And so round trip, that's $7. At Trade Ninja, it's about half of that price. I think it's around $2 and some change per trip, so around $5 in and out. So a little bit less, but the margin requirements for day trading are just incredible. So you can get ES futures contracts. Right now, each contract that I trade at TOS, I have a portfolio margin account right now, but that doesn't really affect the futures margin that they charge. So I want to say, let me look one up. I think it's like $12,000 or something like that. Let's see here what the cost is right now. Yeah, $12,650. At Trade Ninja, it's only $500 is all it requires. So let's just say you had a $10,000 account. Most places you'd be a pattern day trader at that size, so you can do more than 3 round trips without getting your account shut down. In the SEC, I've seen some posts about some regulations that are getting even tighter. So you cannot have, let's see here, you cannot have more than 3 round trips in a day, or even period, I believe. I think it's if you have 1, you get flagged. If you have 2, you get flagged. And 3, you get shut down. But with futures contracts, that is not a requirement to have more than $25,000 in your account. So I think the minimum at Trade Ninja is $1,000, and that allows you to trade 1 ES futures contract. You trade the micro, the mini, the micro of the E-mini S&P 500, and I think you can trade that for as low as $50. And instead of having $12.50 per 25 cents of price movement, it would be a tenth of that. So it would be $1.25 per 20 or 0.25 of movement. So every point would be representative of $5 in the micro, and then it's $50 for every point movement in the ES futures E-mini S&P 500 index. So right now, this is starting to look bullish again. We're going to be getting an uptrend in the MACD, but this is not the shape that I like to trade. Like I said, I've been trading these for about 10 years or 20 years. Been doing options for about 10 years, and then I started doing futures a little bit more recently. But the leverage is just amazing, like I've been trying to describe. So this does not look like a good trade entry to me. I'm seeing a lot of chop here. This mid band. The 30-minute is wanting to trend upwards. The 5-minute is trending sideways. And the 1-minute over here, like I said on the other screen, is not looking too good. This is in a sideways range. Switch to my top right screen here so you can see the 30-minute. Let's see, I'm going to turn my camera off so you can see these. Look at the volume on the 30-minute that I pulled up here. Just low volume. Even on the holiday, tonight is very slow trading. That's why I generally trade this 9 p.m. Mountain Time hour, so you get a lot slower trading. Kind of take a look at all your indicators and absorb it. There's a lot of different things that I have going on, so sometimes it takes me a few minutes just to get my brain wrapped around it all. So I like the slower trading compared to the intraday. If you just look at the height on these candles, I know that this intraday isn't the greatest example, but you can kind of see in the solid black here is the daytime. You can see how much price movement there is, and then you can see the after hours have generally less price movement than during the market hours. That's preferred by me. Ooh, we have a big down candle. Wow. A lot of selling going on right there. Wow. Okay, so a bunch of long buyers just got slaughtered. Wow. Take a look at this movement. Try and get these from overlapping so much. So that's a big down candle. You can see how much movement there was there. And so like I said, the MACD kind of gives you this crossing signal. So generally speaking, you're going to cross right there, but I knew that shape was not right. Yeah, that's like the fakey breaky type of stuff. When you get these crosses, these are not good. These are the crosses you play. This is a cross you play. This is kind of faked out. This is kind of fake out territory too. This is a good trade. This is fake out territory. This one might have been something I wanted to play right here. Not the second one though. Obviously we entered this one. I felt like that was a high probability trade. So this is what we want though. We want more downward pressure. We want more down movement. We're definitely a downtrend. Now, these extents here on the MACD, this kind of gives you, by looking at the same after hours market time frames, you can see here this line is kind of representative for the most part to your low points on the day. So chances are that this is going to be a bounce, and you can see how price reversed right here at this on the, if you see the volume profile in gray behind here, price reverse right there. There price goes, it's reversing back up, somewhat like we anticipated. Yeah, and again, this is just not the shape that I like to enter these trades on. So this is somewhat of what I consider market makers doing what I call hunting for stops. So when you see this dramatic price drop and then a dramatic price run, that is what I'm used to seeing as just market makers manipulation. And of course, I was not looking at that, but it makes sense that here we are on a 30-minute mark with price action. So you had something trigger, and I can't tell on my 30-minute, my 5-minute, my 1 minute. I don't see anything that would have triggered a bunch of algo trading at the 30-minute mark, but there definitely was buyers coming back in. They were able to push the price up pretty well. So you can see here, this red candle was bigger than the previous green candle. So you have an expanding market. So we are in a downtrend still. If I draw a line to kind of give you an idea of this trend, you'll be able to see it pretty clearly. So I'll generally draw it from the top of the box, wherever price closes is what I'm generally looking at. So to me, this is kind of the price action that we could anticipate. So you'll see that this line goes back over here. You can see our price, we never got up to it. We never tested this line. It would have been bearish had we come up, tested our downtrend, and then reversed on it. That's a bearish sign. The fact that we didn't touch it means that we can just kind of side chop and then get right through it. We are running out of time though to where it can clear through this price change. So my guess is we're going to come and test either this 45.41 level, or we're going to come down and we're going to test somewhere in here this 35 level, make new lows on the day. And then probably sometime around midnight, the market's going to do something different, or 1 a.m. Mountain Time. Alright, so we just had a cross on the 1 minute MACD. So let's see if this candle can close and confirm this. There it goes, it did. I would not say that's a lot of strength though. So the 30-minute, you can see that we're starting to, on the MACD, we're getting kind of what I consider this This isn't always exact, but it kind of gives you an idea of when you might see the crossover occur. So let's see, can you see the bottom of my screen? No, you cannot, unfortunately. Let me adjust that. There we go. Keep adjusting a little bit more. So right here where the line I just drew, the green line, crosses back above the 0 line or the purple line, that falls out at the, let's see, that's 11 p.m. Mountain Time. So in approximately an hour and a half, we should see that MACD crossover occur approximately. And just to kind of give you reference, if you look at this downtrend that I drew, that's similar to what this yellow line is. So this yellow line here is similar to this downtrend, and the yellow line kind of does a good job of actually following the price action. And then if you look at the blue line here, or the MACD histogram, kind of what it's following is this downward price action. So like I said, I like to try and click on the where things actually closed at. So if we look at just where this cross also occurs, it's close to where I was saying, around 11 o'clock on the MACD histogram cross. So what I would anticipate is a pretty tight trading range for the next hour and a half. Not a lot of price action. There's no world markets opening or closing right now. That's very low volume. You can see here on the 30-minute, this volume trend is just collapsing. Very low volume. That last hour of the red candle, the last 30-minute candle, we did have a little bit more volume, but still extremely low volume. So what I'm looking for here is that we're just going to kind of sideways chop through this downtrend, and then my expectation is that at some point tonight we're going to be trading in this 44 area, 43 to 44. Or the other scenario is that if we do fall out of this bottom price trend here, then we're going to come down here and test this 34 level. So from right about here, we're going to go up or down 5 points. And I would say there's close to a 50-50 chance of either happening. But I would say that we test the lower range. In my opinion, we're going to see 45-35 before we see 45-45. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some price levels on my screen. Hold me accountable for my prediction that I just made. So I said we see the 35 price level first. So in Thinkorswim, I'm able to click down on like the scroll wheel, and I can do a few different ways of entering this price level. My computer is pretty bogged down from this streaming, so I'm going to put it close to this 35-45 level. And then my secondary one, I said, was the 45. Yeah, I'm a believer that we'll see 35 before 45. I'm holding strong by that. I'm agreeing with myself. So this is a price target. I kind of pinned the bottom yesterday, calling the 23 level the bottom yesterday, and that did end up happening. So I can delete that now, and I'm going to rename this. So if I double click on my line, I'll bring up the properties. And I'm just going to type in there that this is going to happen first. We'll see what happens. I can report back. What do y'all think? Comment in the comment sections what you think is going to happen. Alrighty. So the reason that I drew this green line here was because where price closed. So you can see that this line here, price did go up and down. But the reason I drew it like that is that's how price closed. $7.22. Gonna be interesting. Pretty interesting stuff today. Well, at least I can say we're up $50. Kind of bummed I've only gotten to do one trade though today. Coming up on the 1 hour mark. So actual trade time in that trade was 30 minutes approximately. And we've been sitting here waiting for our next entry opportunity the last 30 minutes. Sometimes you gotta know when not to be greedy though. Stay patient. Trade larger numbers. One thing that I'm feeling comfortable in is when I like my trade setup. So I can go ahead and enter a second or third or a fourth contract up above my initial price target. So in here, when I went short, let's see, you can't see that very well, let me change screens. So here when I went short at the 40.5 level, and was still feeling good about my setup on the MACD, I could have layered in another contract 25 cents or even 50 cents higher and potentially gotten filled. General thought process is that if I'm going to win my first entry point, I'm probably going to win my better entry points as well. And with the target being 70% win rates, it's kind of what you've got to do. We're still in a downward trend. Alrighty, well, we're at the 1 hour mark, so I'm going to go ahead and log off right now. Appreciate everybody, hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and appreciate you liking and subscribing. Thank you very much.